Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and tonight we're going to talk about the use of drones to target American citizens within the borders of the United States. Now, after the Bundy Ranch, when Patriots forced Bureau of Land Management agents to back down, there was a rumor spread around the camp that Eric Holder, the Attorney General, had authorized a drone strike on the Patriots that had successfully defended the Bundys against what can only be termed as outlandish federal aggression. So Patriots scattered to the four winds, and obviously there was no drone strike. But afterwards people were saying, well, that was just ridiculous. Obama would never use drones to strike against anybody, American citizens inside the United States. Well, I'm here to tell you that they have already laid the legal framework to do just that. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to lay it out for you and prove it to you. So don't go anywhere. You're going to love this show. Or it's going to scare the heck out of you. One of the two.
Places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep this frequency clear. And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute. That powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
Barack Obama has given himself, and those he designates, the power to order the deaths of American citizens without ever having charged them with a crime in a court of law. Obama exercised this power when he ordered the drone strikes on Anwar, al-Awlaki, and Samir Khan. 2 weeks later, al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son, Abdulrahman, was also killed in a drone strike in Yemen. Looks like when the boy went out looking for his father, not knowing that he had already been killed, he and several friends were blown apart by a Hellfire missile as they sat next to a campfire eating their dinner. The Obama administration says Abdulrahman's death was a mistake. Now, the title of this video is 100% accurate. Now that Obama has successfully murdered 3 American citizens with barely a peep from Congress, I believe that he'll eventually use this power that he has assumed, and he'll use it domestically. One reason is because Attorney General Eric Holder and CIA Director John Brennan have both refused to assure the American people that drones will not be used to kill American citizens without charges inside the United States. Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to prove how this is the most frightening concept in modern politics, an issue that affects every American citizen equally, regardless of their political beliefs. If you don't watch another video today, you must watch this one and share it with your friends, because this is the most important issue affecting American citizens today. This is an issue that has brought together critically thinking individuals from both sides of the aisle, uniting Tea Party favorite Rand Paul and the ACLU, among others, in an effort to save the Fifth Amendment and preserve the rule of law. Now, out of all of the scandals currently confronting the Obama administration, one might think that ordering the death of an American citizen who has not been charged or convicted in a court of law, with no congressional oversight or judicial review whatsoever, might be at the top of the list of impeachable offenses committed by Barack Hussein Obama. When the merciless savages of Ansar al-Sharia attacked the CIA outpost in Benghazi, 4 American citizens lost their lives due to enemy action. The government's response, or lack thereof, became a cause célèbre for congressional investigators. But when the president actually orders the extrajudicial deaths of American citizens who have never been charged with a crime, nobody cares. Why is this? It's because the Republicans want to preserve that power for themselves. They don't want to charge Obama with a crime for killing the al-Awlakis and Khan, because when he's out of office, they hope to be able to do the exact same thing. Who needs pesky little things like the Fifth Amendment, trials, and representation by a lawyer before the government can just snuff out your life? You know, the Fifth Amendment states, "No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger." Now, one does not have to be a lawyer to understand the meaning of the words "no person." That is very unambiguous language, and it was written that way by the founders because they had just fought a bloody conflict to free themselves from the yoke of a tyrant king who, just like Barack Hussein Obama, thought that it was within his purview to hold the power of life over death with nobody but himself for counsel. Writing as Publius in Federalist Paper number 47, James Madison observed that the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. On September 30th, 2011, Barack Obama became a tyrant when he ordered the deaths of American citizens Anwar al-Awlaki, Abdulrahman al-Awlaki, and Samir Khan. On September 30th, 2011, the Republic of the United States fell and was replaced with what Madison correctly defined as a tyranny. And the ACLU agrees. After al-Awlaki was killed, ACLU lawyer Nate Wessler, who at the time was working for the ACLU's National Security Project, which handles the question of targeted assassinations by the United States government, appeared on The Truth is Viral and said that the Obama administration was lawless. He said that Obama and his minions were acting as judge, jury, and executioner by denying these American citizens the right to a trial, any kind of a trial, and taking their lives without any apparent due process whatsoever.
So if the government in fact had information that Anwar al-Awlaki was engaged in actual activity that was likely to lead to the deaths of U.S. citizens or others, or that he actually had engaged in that activity, then that should furnish the government with grounds to go to court, seek an indictment, charge him, and proceed to trial. And there are lots of examples in recent years and in the further past of successful prosecutions against people accused of terrorism. And really, without more information from the government, it's impossible to know what kind of evidence they had. If they had to go to court, they would have to produce evidence to the judge or the jury, prove their case, and then a verdict would be issued. Here, the government, the president, and those working for him seem to have taken on the duty of judge, jury, and executioner all by themselves. And without more information about the evidence they had, it's impossible to assess whether it was legal.
You can watch the complete Wessler interview by clicking this link right here. It's 20 minutes of shocking revelations, things that you would never think to hear from the ultra-liberal ACLU. Now, Rand Paul and the ACLU don't normally have much in common, but in this interview with CNN, the senator said that the very idea of using a drone strike to kill an American citizen without first going through the courts is appalling.
Senator Wyden asked Brennan this in the committee hearing. He says, can you kill an American on American soil with a drone without a judicial hearing? And Brennan didn't answer the question. So we've asked it in writing. My understanding is Senator Wyden has asked this in writing, and we don't have an answer. So if you're not going to answer no, I think that means you're essentially telling us, yes, you believe that the president has the power to kill an American in America. That is appalling.
Now, on Wednesday, May 21st, Rand Paul gave an impassioned plea decrying the use of drones to murder American citizens without any sort of due process whatsoever in advance of a Senate vote to confirm David J. Barron to a federal appeals court judgeship.
I rise today in opposition to the killing of American citizens without trials. I rise today to oppose the nomination of anyone who would argue that the President has the power to kill an American citizen not involved in combat and without a trial. I rise today to say that there is no legal precedent for killing American citizens not involved in combat, and that any nominee who rubber stamps and grants such power to a president is not worthy of being placed one step away from the Supreme Court. The Bill of Rights is especially for unpopular people and unpopular ideas and unpopular religions. It is easy to argue for trials for prom queens. It is easy to argue for trials for the high school quarterback or the American Idol winner. It is hard to argue for trials for traitors and for people who would wish to harm our fellow Americans. But a mature freedom defends the defenseless, allows trials for the guilty, protects even speech of the most despicable nature. As our soldiers began to return from Afghanistan, I asked them to explain in their own words what they had fought for. And to a soldier, they would tell me they fought for the American way. They fought to defend the Constitution, and they fought for our Bill of Rights. I think it's a disservice to their sacrifice not to have an open and full-throated public debate about whether an American citizen should get a trial before they are killed. Realize that during the Bush years, most of President Obama's party, including the president himself, argued against the detention, not the killing. They argued against the detention of American citizens without a trial. Yet now, the president and the vast majority of his party will vote for a nominee that advocates the killing of American citizens without trial. How far have we come? How far have we gone? We were once talking about detaining American citizens and objecting that they would get no accusation and no trial. Now we are condoning killing American citizens without a trial.
Now that's important because Brennan is the chief architect of Obama's drone policy as it applies to the extrajudicial killings of American citizens. His policy, a secret policy by the way, was used to justify the killings of Samir Khan and the al-Awlakis. Paul says that he's appalled and horrified that we now live in a country where a mere accusation is enough for Obama or those he designates to legally order the death of an American citizen at home or abroad without ever having charged that person with a crime in a court of law, as was done in the case of Khan and the al-Awlakis. Last week, the United States Senate voted to confirm Brennan to a lifetime appointment to the federal court. What good is having a constitution if it can be ripped to shreds by activist judges and presidential executive orders? You know, the most frightening thing about this entire issue is the complete lack of transparency. Even the process for determining the guilt of a targeted individual is classified. The entire idea of accusing a person of a crime and trying them in a court of law before a jury of their peers has been thrown out the window by the federal government. And in case you haven't noticed, the Department of Homeland Security has issued guidelines that determine who they consider to be a terrorist threat that can be so broadly interpreted as to include just about anybody. If you're on one of those lists, and if you aren't on one by now, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The president and those he designates can declare you to be a terrorist threat and take your life without any congressional oversight, no judicial review, no charges. It's just good night, Irene. Attorney General Eric Holder and CIA Director John Brennan have both refused to say that drones will not be used to target Americans domestically, again, without charges or a trial. And that thought is frightening, or it should be, to Americans on both sides of the aisle. In a letter from Eric Holder to the Senate, the Attorney General said, "It is possible, I suppose, to imagine an extraordinary circumstance in which it would be necessary and appropriate under the Constitution and applicable laws of the United States for the President to authorize the military to use lethal force within the territory of the United States." Today, a Democratic president named Barack Hussein Obama has the power to kill anyone he wants, using only his pen and his phone. And he has also delegated that power to anyone he chooses. In 2016, that power could be transferred to a Republican president named Sarah Palin, Chris Christie, or Jeb Bush. Heaven forbid. And now they have the backup to take the lives of any American citizen they choose on the federal appeals bench. Are you concerned now? Just today, Barron released a secret memo. Barron says that the legal authority to detain and question foreign nationals given to the Department of Defense under the authorization for the use of military force is a sufficient precedent to take the life of an American citizen in the United States if Obama or those he designates decides that that person is part of Al-Qaeda or an associated force. That's a pretty big leap, going from questioning foreign nationals to killing United States citizens. So basically, if Obama or one of his minions decides all by himself, with no charges filed in a court of law, no congressional oversight, none of that stuff. If they decide by themselves that an American citizen is part of Al-Qaeda or an associated force, that person can be killed legally. Barron spent the first 23 pages of this memo describing how they could weasel out of not getting in trouble for this. It's a 31-page memo. He spent 2/3 of it figured out how they can not get in trouble. And his reasoning is tenuous at best. And there's only one mention of the Fifth Amendment in that entire document. And it's just a passing mention that has nothing to do with the true purpose of the Fifth Amendment, that no person be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime without first being indicted in a court of law, where everybody can see the evidence. Folks, that's what being Americans is all about. You're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, Jeffrey Dahmer got a trial. Ted Bundy got a trial. Timothy McVeigh got a trial. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, not even an American citizen, the architect of 9/11, was arrested in Pakistan, brought back to the United States. He's getting a trial. Abu Kahadma, whatever, how do you say his name, the guy that they just arrested in Libya, they're bringing him back to the United States. As soon as he steps foot on the American shore, he gets read his rights, even though as an enemy combatant he doesn't have any rights. And he gets a trial. But Anwar al-Awlaki and his 16-year-old son, a completely innocent little boy, and Samir Khan, they don't get a trial. They don't even get charged with a crime. Now, personally, I believe that's because al-Awlaki was a CIA asset, and they didn't want him spilling what he knew in open court. But that's neither here nor there. The point of this whole thing is that now that they've set the precedent with a scumbag like al-Awlaki, and make no mistake, he was a scumbag traitor, and he more than likely deserved to die. But as an American citizen, he had a Fifth Amendment right to a trial before that decision is made. Yeah, he may have been a scumbag, but he has rights, and now that they've set that precedent, folks, I'm here to tell you, one of these days you're going to turn on your computer or open up your newspaper, and you're going to see a headline stating American rebels or insurgents or whatever killed in a Wyoming drone strike, or Idaho, or Texas. And that's the truth. Because no tyrant in the history of the world has ever assumed a power that he did not eventually use. Are you scared yet? Next time on The Truth is Viral, we'll talk about terrorist training camps inside the United States that the FBI isn't doing a damn thing about. They watch all of our emails and watch our comings and goings. We're domestic tourists, don't you know? But they hear sounds of automatic weapons fire coming from Islamic compounds where they know, where all the local residents know what's going on. They leave them alone. So we'll talk about that and try to figure out what's going on, because folks, it just does not make sense. And if you'd like to know the latest on my wife's situation, well, you can click this link right here. That will bring you up to speed. We sure do appreciate all of your prayers. It means a lot. And I'm forever in your debt. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell. And until next time, as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.
Smack, runner, your game is